Well, hey, this is Jerry with What's Broke Today. That when I say you never know what you'll see, well, I get repeats sometimes because I've got another one, Gravely ZT42s that probably seen another video with the front axle broke. Now this one's a little bit different because it only broke on this one side. You can see I got a crack here. There's a little crack here on top, and then come around to the back side, it's broke down here, and then even let's see if I can move this around where we can see underneath here. Trying to get the camera lined up where I can get a good view. There we go. We'll move the wheel out of the way. Yeah, we're split here. Get our light moved to a different spot so we get a better view, but I mean, you can see that crack in there. And on this one, I'm going to spend a little bit more time, and I'm actually going to shoot some video of me actually while I'm doing some of this work. So you'll see how I go about, getting this ready to welding it up, and then cutting out the plates that I'm going to put on it to get her put back together. Well, we're back with the Gravely, and I'm going to start out with is all the different things that I'm going to use, which the dog done broke my cutoff wheel. I got my cordless angle grinder with a 4.5 inch cutoff wheel. I've got flap disc for cleaning paint, grinding wheel for grinding down welds, or any other thing needs grinding. I've got the smaller 3-inch cutoff wheel that I can put in the angle or straight die grinder. Then I've got a little 2-inch sanding disc for getting in tighter spots. I have a paint pen. I've also got my pipe wrench to help me move and manage things. I got the cat here who's supervising. I have a piece of steel here to make my plates out of to reinforce this. I've got a piece of angle iron that I can put across the front here and use it to keep this straight. If need be, I have a diamond wheel that goes on my angle grinder, and I've also I did bring it over here because I won't use it here, but also have my porta band. So cutting out some of this plate, I use the porta band because it's so much easier. I'll just use my paint pen, draw it out, cut it, and go. Of course, a jack stand, a floor jack. I got my wire welder, a couple C-clamps. I got things I can use, straight pieces of steel I can use to help line things up, dead blow hammer. A tool to point out that so while I was looking close, I found more cracks than I thought I had, and say hi to Trouble. He wants to make sure I do this right. He wants to be the star of the show. See? Yep. He says, hi. What can I do? Okay. So I use my paint pen, and I get my flashlight, and I find all my cracks, and I mark them with the paint pen, because first thing I'm going to do, and that's why I got the cut-off wheel, death wheel, whiz wheel, whatever you want to call it, on the angle grinder and the die grinder, because I'm actually going to cut out and make a groove where that crack is. And see, I'm looking there, and I'll change the light a little, and see, here's another little fissure. Okay, another little fissure right here. From there down, which I didn't do a straight line because I was trying to do it freehand. And of course, I've got it marked in the front, on the bottom, and then of course I went around to the back side and marked it. And then, of course, I'm here with my flashlight. After I mark the easy stuff, I start looking closer. You notice my sheet of paper here has a red line. Hard to see, but right in here, if I can get my paper down in there, you can see I put it down in a crack because hide my red line. And I pull it in and out, and it's cracked clear across there, and even down in here. Let me take my light off. I can put my light on the bottom side. Get the camera just right. There we go. You can see light up through that crack. And I imagine if I get it in the right spot, we might even see light up through that one, because this is a channel. It's open on the back side. So, our starting point, of course, is finding all our cracks, so we know what all we got to fix. Then taking the grinder, I'll cut my grooves and get them all ready. I'm going to take this wheel off because it's in the way, and I'll knock it's got plastic bushings. I'm going to knock them out. This heat shouldn't transfer far enough to hurt it. But I'm probably going to take this plate that I'm going to put on the front, I'm probably going to bring it clear out to here. I'm probably thinking something like here to here. And then I won't go clear to the top. I'll get close. And then the plate that goes across the bottom, I'm going to have a gap, so that when I get ready to weld across here, I'm actually going to get the front plate that I've put up here. I'm going to get the original frame and the bottom plate in one weld across this bottom, because the bottom plate is kind of going to be a triangle. It's going to well, I'll show you when I get it cut. And then, even though the other side I couldn't find any cracks, I'm going to do a little bit of preventative over there, and just to keep this from happening to the other side. So yeah, I'm not going to film every little tidbit, but I'm going to cut all my grooves and get them cleaned up, and then I'll bring the camera back and show you. As you can see here, I have cut a groove up here. I've cut a small one this way because it was not a very big crack, so I don't worry about getting all the way through there. And I also went underneath and did the same thing going across the bottom. And then on the back side, I cut in, an angle. I saw another little one here. Of course, as the light changes, you'll see things. So I cut a little groove and then cut up here, then also cut into here. And then also come down and let's see if I can get the picture of it. I cut where you can see that crack up through, I cut a little groove here. Now inside on the back side of here, I'd really like to clean that up good, but I'll have to do some of that by, I get a little bit of it with the power tools, but some of it I'd get by hand, and then some of it I'm just going to have to crank the welder up, just burn through the paint. But if you've ever welded, it's hard to weld through paint. But I'm going to get most of it because I can stick the gun here on the back side and work my way down, with it back and forth. And then I get my piece of angle iron here, and set the camera down. I'll push this back up. And I secure my angle iron across the front, so I got a nice straight here in the front. But then when we come up here over the top, which my camera back up right, I have a gap that we can see some light in between my angle iron and that bar. So I got to get that pulled back forward, and that's part of the grooves in there serve twofold. Number one, it gives me a gap to weld and fill up, so I basically get, you know, good penetration and all the way through. Plus, it allows me to put my C-clamp on, which, holding the camera, this just don't work, so I may edit a little bit out, but C-clamp it here. Okay, so I put a C-clamp there, and then I can pull this forward, and then places like right here where it's raised up, I can just take, since I have the groove now, I can take my hammer and work that back down into place. And then also on the back side here, where this is out of form, I can come in here and I'll do that after I get the camera off, because I'll get a punch and put right where I need it, because I got a big drift, and hit and get that gap and straightened out as best I can. I may even get and do a little more cutting, because I think this not going in. I probably need to take the Dremel and do a little cut there, but we'll see. But I'll get all that pushed in where I think I need it, then I'll actually take everything off. I'll clean all the paint off where I'm going to weld, and then yeah, we'll get back set up and do some welding. So I've got my paint ground off on this side. That haven't done that side, but I went ahead and made my brackets, which well, I suppose you gotta get paint off your steel that you're going to make things out of. You probably shouldn't paint it, so I got a lot more cleaning to do. But you see how that has an offset, because our level here changes, and that's going to end up going on top of there. And then I'll C-clamp that down and do a little tacking, and then weld the perimeter of it. And likewise, the one that's going on, well, that's the wrong side, on the bottom, same thing. We've got I offset, and basically I went to my press, you know, calculated about what my offset was down here, and I just took stacked up some steel plate, you know, on the bottom here and on the top here, and then just pushed it down with my press to get my angle. And same way with these. And of course I'll get it probably, you know, C-clamps. I'll probably use the same C-clamp on, you know, to hold the top and the bottom. You know, I'll just take them, yeah, here. Okay, that's probably too much, but I'll get that where I want it. Put my C-clamp on there. Do my final little alignment. And tighten that one down, and then there's my other one. Lining up on the bottom exactly like I planned, but also haven't done any welding yet because this still isn't straight. But we'll end up roughly with, before I start welding these on, we'll have this set up to keep them in place, and then just a little tack to hold it. But before I even get that far, the most important thing we gotta remember when we're getting this all lined up is where our wheel works. Our axle is offset in front of the wheel, so that as you're moving, whatever's forward direction, the wheel will be trailing. So I need to make this as close to straight up and down, you know, this way and this way, so that as they're driving, this will rotate around and follow them as they're driving. So, you know, that's where I find, you know, most important thing is getting this right before I do any of my welding. And that's part of what my angle iron here is on here, going to be on here for, is for that. So I'm going to get my angle iron on. I'm going to weld back here first and get that put together. I'm going to weld across the part of the bottom, and then I'll take my angle iron off, and then I can start working on my plates. And another question I get sometimes when I'm doing stuff like this is, they always say drill a hole at the end of your crack. Now, if I was doing this where I wasn't going to plate it, I would have drilled holes at the end before I even cut my grooves, because the hole in the end will tend to keep a current crack. Say if I just weld it up and I don't happen to get to the very tip of it, it could continue cracking past that even after I weld it. So, but since I'm putting plates over this to reinforce it, I'll weld these shut, and I'm actually going to grind them down smooth before I put my plates on. So, well, I'm going to get back after it, and I'll return shortly. Got my first round of welding done, and you can see I got where my grooves up and down through, and tried to get as good a penetration as I could. And I cranked the heat up and got that, and then of course I'm going to turn this upside down, because see that bottom crack, I got it filled in, and I'm actually proud of that, because that's probably my best welding upside down I think I've ever done. But it also helps I got it clean, so that looked really good, and I got up in there deep, you know, and since I had the groove, you know, it goes up and gets basically clear through. If you could see the backside, usually it's, you know, the weld's actually coming through. And then when I take my clamp off now, basically, I mean, that might move back a little bit, but it doesn't move hardly at all. But I mean, I've got, probably less than a 1/16 of an inch gap there. So we are super close where we need to be. That, you know, I take my angle iron off, then I still got to where I was underneath. I still got to come up and through there, and then hit that spot, and then I'll grind everything down smooth. Okay, now there's the welds on the front. Now I might have, on the vertical, I might have had my wire speed a little too high. But you know, the big trick on a lot of this is just figuring out what the proper wire speed is, and even here, see, I got the light now, and when I look real close, I'm gonna check that, but I think I got another crack. You know, that's where, you know, the light changes. I can see from at where that weld ends, coming up to, move the light around, I'd say from where that weld ends up to about there, I've got another little crack, which would probably be okay, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'll check just to make sure it's not a scratch. Like this up here is a scratch from me moving this thing around. So, but I'll look at that a little closer, and then if there is one, I'll go ahead and weld up through it before I start grinding them down flat. I got welds ground down relatively smooth, and I got the bottom plate here where it kind of, you know, it overhangs just a little bit. Now this one doesn't matter, it's back there, because a lot of the reason for the overhang here because it's easier to weld in that slot and go between the bottom plate, the original frame, and the other piece of plate. And then of course the top one, I just clamp it down and got them in place. And then let's see if I can but I got my other piece here, and I'll get it lined up where I want it there, and then take my clamp, clamp it there, and then I'll get another clamp and put around here till I get it tacked on the ends. And then once I get it tacked, you know, in a few spots where the plates will stay in place, then I'll take the all the clamps off. Because once I get everything tacked in place in my different locations, I'll take all the clamps off and then go ahead and finish welding all around, because I can weld, you know, let's see if I can get the camera there. I can weld across here. I can come back here and get my finger in the right spot. I can follow the inside of this channel up to the front. I can do the same thing under here. It's hard to get the, I can hit right across there, and then I can fill in. Now there is just a little bit of a gap in between the, no, if I can get that in there where you can see it, but that bottom plate, this across here, you know, this is lower than that. So I'm just gonna weld and fill the gap, which of course I don't know if there's any way you can see that, but I'm gonna get the welding. Okay, got all the welding done. That my wire brushed it off some, because now see, I weld using the argon CO2 gas instead of flux wire, because I think it just welds cleaner and it's easier to follow your puddle and, you know, get it to flow. But I got everything done up there, and we got all here in the front, and then and of course put it across here and underneath. That upside down wasn't real good, but that upside down wasn't too bad. I could have used it as a tad more right there in the front, but everything turned out well. But I'm gonna let that all cool while I go eat some lunch, and then after lunch, and I'm not gonna video grinding paint off and welding the top and bottom on the other side. I don't think you need to see that, but I'll get her all cleaned up, put back together, and then I'll after I get it all reassembled, I'll finish out my video. Our gravely is done. That everything turned out good. That I've been out mowing, and as you can see, it's cutting really good. And I got everything put back together, because you can't see a lot because this plate hides everything. So, you know, this thing started breaking, and he didn't notice it till the wheel, you know, I mean, because it's not too far from the deck up there to begin with, till the wheel got up against the deck, and then it wouldn't rotate. But I've got everything pulled back to where it needed to be, and here I'll see if I can do an upward shot. But, you know, say we got all welded up and painted up, and some bracing added on the other side. And, everything's looking really good. That for the most part, I mean, the only thing you can see while you're sitting on it is, you know, right here. And right over here, that one plate that I put on it that, you know, I could have made it a ½ inch shorter and you wouldn't hardly have seen it, but, you know, that's all right. That, you know, oh, I got grass in my shoe. I mean, other than the fact, you know, I mean, you're sitting here on it, it's not that noticeable. And I got this fixed and saved him having to buy a new mower. So I know he'll be really happy and everything. So that's a win-win situation there. That you know, this is my second video on this actual model of Gravely, and I don't want you to think that I'm in any way saying that these are bad mowers, because a Gravely mower is, for the most part, a great mower. That it really don't matter what you buy, that everything's going to break every now and then, you know. And then like with this one, I mean, probably the person owns this mower that is mowing a regular residential yard that's nice and smooth like a golf course will probably never have a problem with one of this model. But the ones that I've been working on, you know, they're, I mean, probably, I'd say mowing 1.5 acres to 2 acres at the minimum. It's not smooth. I mean, you have potholes in the yard from moles digging, dirt washing, you know, just general unevenness of ground around here in the Midwest. So, you know, the Gravely here, actually a great mower. I mean, it's not that noisy. This has a Kawasaki engine, a 3-bladed 42-inch mower deck that, I mean, cuts, I mean, really nice. And I'm out cutting in my back field behind my barn that it's not good grass to begin with. So, I mean, it makes it look really good. That, well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode, but I appreciate you watching. If you like my video, give me that thumbs up there at the bottom, because that's good for me. Feel free to leave any comments, and please subscribe, because no telling what you may see next. I think one of my next videos might be a little bit of about me and what I do, and give you an idea of all the different kinds of stuff I work on. Kind of like what's broke today. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.